So, Ben, what'd you say? Sorry.
Thank you for the one water.
Yeah. You know, today was an incredible event. You know, it was electric. We had some of the best athletes around. And, you know, there was an unfortunate event. We're not going to really comment on that. We still have to review the tape and make an assessment on exactly what happened. So I'm not going to really go into that. I want to focus on the matches and some of the, you know, the great outcomes. So I'll leave it at that.
I want to just announce our two match of the night winners. We got Givi over Buchanan. Givi gets performance of the night, and Evan Wick's match over Sarkazanov. Evan Wick is getting the bonus also.
Come on, guys. Come on. Wake up, people. They put it on the line.
You know, I think Aljamain said it in the press conference. You know, he's a D3 All-American. You know, he wrestled. You know, so we knew he was going to go out there and compete. We just didn't know at what level. You know, these MMA fighters that are coming over, you know, they're all badasses. You know, but if they ain't wrestled in a while, they get a little tired. They get a little bit. Things get a little bit funny out there. You know, so but to watch Aljo go out there and perform the way he did, Ben Henderson looked great tonight. Also, you know, I think that. You know, me and Chad and the crew will sit back and throw it at the dartboard, and hopefully something sticks for him.
Yeah, we'll definitely have him back.
Henry, congratulations. You look like you had a great time out there, being able to mix it up with Urijah. What was tonight like for you, especially doing it in front of a crowd that was fully supportive of you?
You know what's funny, man? I'm so accustomed to getting booed. And I was just like, are these fucking people cheering for me? So it's almost like you become the bad guy, but you're really the good guy. You know, it's unfortunate the way the co-main event kind of happened, but that's the spirit of competition too. You know, spirit of competition of somebody wanting, there's a winner, there's a loser. And then when they both go out there and put money on the line and the whole night, look what that turned into. But regardless, man, I think, you know, wrestling builds character, and it's unfortunate the way things happen. But I don't know, guys. I don't know what you guys think, but I'd love to see a rematch.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Next question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Eric. I know you guys don't want to get into specifics about everything, but as the man who wrote a tremendous book called Controversy Creates Cash, there's a lot of
New York Times bestseller, by the way.
New York Times bestseller.
In case anybody was curious, you can still get it on Amazon.
But I mean, it was a great night. I think a lot of people will be talking about what happened in the co-main event, which, as unfortunate as it may be, puts a lot of attention on your promotion. So I'm curious, without getting into specifics and who's wrong and who's right and all that, I'm just curious your reaction to all of it from that standpoint.
All right, well, first of all, I want to make it clear. I've already been accused on social media for actually creating that scene, right? Because it looks so much like professional wrestling. But anybody that knows me, who's ever worked with me, knows that I would never have let it go that long, right? It was just too long. Joking aside, I was disappointed because there's so much other great stuff about Real American Freestyle. I'm really proud of the entire team that worked pretty quick and pretty hard to put together a great package for Nate Carr, and then just surprise Nate and have David come out and put the Real American Legends Championship belt on him. I thought that was such a cool moment, and that's what I was looking forward to, those kind of cool moments. What happened tonight, yeah, it's going to create controversy, and you know, the right kind of controversy managed properly can create cash, but it can also create, you know, backlash too. So like Chad said, we're just going to look through the tape, make a decision, and deal with it.
Yeah, I think it's important on that point is that we're a family. We pride ourselves in being a family-friendly combat sport, right? So obviously it's not, we don't go out and try to have these kind of situations happen. We're on 6 events, not even a blip. So it's going to happen, unfortunately. But like Eric said, you know, we got to figure out how to make sure it doesn't.
We've been seeing, we've been seeing, you know, UFC come in here. Do you have any plans to bring people from your field, wrestling, into here?
Well, I don't have a lot to do
WWE
with
wrestling.
any of that, so
Okay.
I guess just sit back and put it on television.
Marauder MMA on TikTok. Hamzat Chimaev just tweeted on Twitter he wanted to come to America and smash Hamzat, and I mean Hamzat Chimaev wanted to come to America and smash Colby in RAF. Would you like to welcome him to RAF?
You know, we've talked to Chimaev in the past, and you know, I don't think any match is off the table. When me and Izzy introduced me to Henry, and we had an initial call with Henry on Christmas Eve. And Henry told us to basically pound sand, and he's right here. So you never know, but we'll see.
Everest versus Lucia was the only women's match on the card. Can you guys talk about what you thought of their performances, and then also how RAF is going to involve the women going forward?
Yeah, just so everyone's clear, there's a big ranking tournament right now in Albania with a lot of the top wrestlers in the world, and all the top college women wrestlers right now are getting ready for their NCAA championship next weekend. So Kennedy Blades and a variety of them superstars are competing. So we felt like we'll save a couple women's matches for Tampa and Philly. So we're pretty excited about that. But, you know, I say it over and over, when we're building this thing and building this roster, Lucia was one of the first athletes that I was like, man, she's a showman. You know, she can really perform, and she's a go-getter. She doesn't get tired. She attacks. She's tricky. She's got tricks up her sleeve. She's an Olympic finalist, and she's from Ecuador, you know. And I think to help her showcase the country that makes her so proud, it was awesome to try to be able to do that for her. And I think she did that for herself tonight, you know. Everest is the talk of wrestling in America right now, and even overseas. She just beat a bronze in the Olympics to win the ranking tournament. Everest has a bright future. She had a tall task ahead of her tonight. You know, 17-year-old young lady competing in her hometown against, you know, if not arguably probably the #1 ranked wrestler in the world at that weight class. So, you know, hats off to Everest. That young lady's got a bright future. I mean, you just look at her come out with those glasses on. Look at her swag. Look at that, you know. So I thought they both did unbelievably well, and, you know, someone's got to win. So, yeah.
Trevor Romero with Blaze Radio. Kamaru Usman is a very popular call-out name here at RAF so far. So is that the next UFC athlete that you guys are looking to sign?
Yeah.
Let me answer that, because I talked to Kamara quite a bit. He wants to compete. He wants to wrestle. You know,
And
we talked
he's
about it.
listening.
Yeah, and he's listening, so he knows. But I think first and foremost, he really wants to, you know, fight for the title. He wants to do that before he's able to do all this, because, you know, he's on his last leg or knee for some of you guys.
Yeah, Morgan Tremmel, Cronkite News. Izzy, Chad, Eric, Muggsy, and Henry. Muggsy had a great match. That he's extremely emotional after that. What can you say to bringing in more guys like him who have a prominence in the wrestling, like Instagram community, social media community like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Izzy and I and Eric, we love having Muggsy there, and we're always open to matchups. Clay Guida and Muggsy put on an unbelievable performance today. I have a lot of respect for both of them. But Muggsy's been working hard too. He's part of our show. He trains really hard, and I think he's great for the sport.
He brings a lot to the show. He brings a different kind of energy to the show, and it's one that we need, because we are an entertainment property, and guys like Muggsy can bring a lot of that different kind of entertainment energy along with great wrestling.
You guys saw him compete. You know, the guy can wrestle. You know, he wrestled on the beach. He's a competitor, and I think a lot of times these social media guys, you know, even Georgio can wrestle, and I think everybody saw that today. Taking down Arman, you know, was pretty damn impressive. You know, and I think that you got hats off to these social media guys that nobody thinks can wrestle. They're showcasing that they actually can wrestle, so it's pretty fun.
Caden Rockins with Cronkite News. I have a question for Henry.
Triple
so
C, but go ahead.
You talked a bit about it after the match, but your first love is wrestling. So how did that feel to be back in the singlet, especially in your home state of Arizona?
Yeah, one, I felt tired. But two, like I said, I think the biggest surprise was like, God, I'm not accustomed to that. I was just like, man, I thought they could cheer you right a little bit more, but I think when you make that print and you're from here, you forget that people that truly know you, they're like, man, this guy puts it all on the line. You know, whether I win or I lose or it's a draw, I'm going to go out there and compete. But, I mean, I don't know what you guys thought, but Triple C versus Merab, let's run it. You know, I know Peter Yan's out for quite some time, and I'm here to get that back. You know, I'm here to get that back, and I'm going to do Merab a favor, and I'm gonna spin him around, dude. You guys can bet the house on that.
Robbie Maloff with Sky Films. This is for Triple C, the king, the GOAT over
You're welcome.
here. Yeah. So you've obviously accomplished absolutely everything in the sport of mixed martial arts, wrestling. What motivates you to still just get out here and compete against these dogs? Like, what inspires you to still be out here?
What it is for Real American Freestyle is a sport of wrestling. It's a sport. I mean, you guys look at the 6,000 people, sold out crowd. I mean, it's super intimate. Like I said before, even that co-main event, I'm sure was streaming and people were just tuning in to actually watch. So I think it's more of that. And obviously my family. Where's my kids at? You know, that's what it is. You know, America Maria, and then we have Edo. So these are, you guys give them a round of applause. You know, give them some love, dude. So it's this. It's a mixture of my kids and that beautiful sport that took this kid out of the ghetto and allowed him to, you know, go to the four corners of the world. You know, so I'm very, very fortunate about it, and continue. And we want to continue to keep putting on great matches. We're here to put it on the line, and Merab better be ready. Yati via par vous. And that means I'm going to rip his face.
Wyatt Boyce from Fight Society. This question's for Triple C. At the pre-fight press conference yesterday, you mentioned that before this match, you were not really interested in competing anymore, and now we have a win tonight and then a matchup potentially with Merab in April. What was that switch mentally for you to kind of go into this new chapter of your career?
Yeah, you know what? It was that... Okay. It was that New Year's Eve call when Izzy and Chad were on the phone with me, and it was a challenge. I was like, you know what? If I'm getting mad or I'm a little uncomfortable, then it has to be done. You know, then I called them back a few hours later. I was like, you know what? I'm in, dude. You guys challenged me. I appreciate what you guys are doing. The events are absolutely amazing. I mean, I watched it today. I'm blown away. And I'm just so proud of the sport and thankful for, you know, Eric Bishop, Chad, and Izzy that are really bringing this sport and making it corporate to where it's not just going to be NFL Sundays. It's going to be wrestling every day.
Here. Doug Vasquez with Sports Illustrated. Muggsy had a great performance tonight. Excuse me. When we talked to him backstage, he talked about the weight cut, how it was a torture. He had to cut 12 pounds. Does the RAF have any plans in place to like put a medical staff and team and help these athletes with their weight cuts, and nutrition, similar to what the UFC does with the PI?
You know, these guys all arrive on Wednesday, you know, so everyone, when they get here on Wednesday, we're checking their weights, you know, so we identify exactly where guys are toward their weights, you know, and Muggsy, when he arrived, he was only about 7 pounds over, so it was pretty easy reach for him. You know, what we like to do at Real American Freestyle is try to keep the sport of wrestling as pure as we can. So you saw Urijah and Henry, that both those guys, I mean, if they really wanted to, we could have made the weight class 145. They could have sucked down. They could have been miserable. They wouldn't have had dinner with their family, you know, but we didn't do that. We allow these guys to go weight classes that are competitive, but they're also healthy for them. And the wrestlers that we have that are high-level wrestlers, Givi, Buchanan, Selkazanov, Wick, all those guys are wrestling weight classes that they normally wrestle in, and they wrestle overseas in a same-day weigh-in procedure that we have. So, you know, we're one of the things that I did and our team did when we moved the weigh-in from instead of the day before to day of, and it was solely because of that. We wanted to make sure that we weren't having those guys cutting 25 pounds, being experts at refueling. We wanted them to be experts and wrestle just at wrestling. So that's exactly where we are. We're not too fond of the weight cut. Like Chad said earlier, this is a family-friendly show. We want these guys to compete and not worry about cutting weight. Put it on the line.
Okay, how's it going? I just wanted to say for everybody behind the cameras over here, just a great show, great weekend, guys. Henry Cejudo, I see the water, I see the podcast. How important is it for you to, you know, grow as more than a wrestler from 08 and bantamweight champion and flyweight champion? How important is it for you to grow your brand, and how important is it for other athletes to start growing themselves as well outside the mat?
Yeah, of course, and that's part of my mission. You can even ask Chad. And I never ask for anything in exchange because, you know, they're taking care of me. That whole Aljamain thing, that was, you know, between me and Eric. I was like, hey, text Chad, tell him that we got somebody for Benson Henderson. You know, and man, I hook up a lot of these guys. I never ask for anything in return because I feel like the brand that I've been able to build if I can teach all these other fighters and wrestlers how to do it, one, they got to get out of their comfort zone. So I think of a guy like Muggsy, not the best wrestler, but man, he's got a mouthpiece. Whether he wins or he loses, the people love him. And I think if you're able to create that, it makes business that much better. We don't have to necessarily coach. I'm not much of a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a great teacher. But I'm not going to be going to freaking tournaments every weekend or UFC fight. That's not me. Or commentate. That's not me. But what I could do is use my gift to be able to, leverage. Like, I'm with One Water. And I hope that me and Chad are in the works already talking to, get this business mind involved and, let's make a whole lot of money, Chad.
I mean, I would say that Henry, for me and Izzy and Eric, like when he signed, Henry's fully committed to us, and he really does do it for the sport of wrestling. Like, he's doing this because he loves wrestling, and so he's been very open when we called him up about the Merab thing. So it's not it's an actual committed match, April 18th. So it's not something that's in the works. But Henry is just been unbelievable to work with, and calls me and Izzy up all the time and gives his opinions and tries to help us out. And Eric and Henry did call me and Izzy up for that Aljamain matchup.
It's not for you, Eric. I know you're not part of the actual matchmaking and the creative and the booking, but for Chad and Izzy, Colby Covington told me yesterday that he was going to be headlining RAF 7, and obviously he came out and cut the promo and called out a bunch of people. Can you guys confirm that Colby will be headlining RAF 7?
What I'll say this is we're talking to a lot of wrestlers right now, a lot of potential opponents for Kobe, and we're actually talking to a lot of great wrestlers, a lot of big names. So stay tuned, guys. This week we got a lot of big announcements with Real American Freestyle. Chad and I have just been literally grinding and putting our heads together with our impressive team, with Willie and Ben Askren and Lance Palmer. Even Henry's part of our matchmaking team now. But we can't give out too much tonight on headliner of Tampa. But this week you'll be knowing what's going on.
Yep.
Like and subscribe.
But and just appreciate you guys. And I would say this, the media coverage, I was talking to MMA Junkie and a few other people yesterday, but you guys have been great covering the sport and really giving wrestling the spotlight, so we appreciate that.
Guys, thank you. We really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing? You're welcome.
Thanks.